My hometown of Jackson, Mississippi had 155 homicides in 2021. That's the highest per capita murder rate in the United States, higher than Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta, Detroit, and even Chicago, the city with the most overall slayings in 2021. Homicide numbers have soared across the country the past 2 years, but why? I mean, what's changed? We'll discuss that on tonight's Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. Buckle up. About to kick this thing off.
T2Q Radio.
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
What's going on, people? I want to welcome all of you to the Talk to Q radio show. My name is Quincy, and this is my show. And I'm coming to you live from the south side of the T2Q Man Cave. Today is March the 29th, 2022, and this is episode number 988. Now, please remember to hit that thumbs up, first of all. You have no idea how a simple gesture like that can help a podcaster. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon to subscribe and be alerted of future shows. It's free of charge. Now, you can also hit the subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you consume the show so you can keep up. Also, you can support the show by buying me a cup of coffee. The link is in the show notes, or you can cash app your boy at $TalkToQ. You can also message me with show topics, feedback on the show, or request to be a guest just by hitting me up on social media. All of my contact information is located on my website at talktaq.com. All right, enough of all that. Let's get to the T2Q virtual phone lines to see who wants to smoke. And I got quite a few in here, but I'm going to start first in the aforementioned 601 area code of Mississippi and bring on my man Bailey. And Bailey, what's going on, bro?
Hey, Q, what's up with it, man?
Man, I can't call it.
All right, man. Good to be here, man.
Glad to have you on. And I got a bunch of show legends joining the mix. A couple of them y'all ain't seen in a minute. But let me start off with this one. This is a familiar face. From the 732 area code, the Garden State of New Jersey, please welcome on the show enforcer, the show legend, Ray. Ray, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Q? What's up, everybody?
What's happening, man?
Hey, what's up with it, Ray?
All right, back to the phone lines.
What up, Radio World?
From the 601 area code in the Magnolia State of Mississippi, please welcome on the original show legend, the Minister of Sexual Affairs, Eminem. What's shaking, man?
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
What's up? What's up?
What up, man?
It's up.
All right, and let me blow the dust off for this young lady because it's been a minute since I've seen her face on here. From the 501 area code, the natural state of Arkansas, please welcome on show legend Amy to the Talk to Q radio show. Amy, how's it going?
How are y'all? How's everybody doing? Hi, babe.
Hey, how you doing?
What up?
Hey,
going on?
what's going on, man?
Good to hear you.
Ray,
A to the M to the Y.
how you doing, bro?
All right, and I got one more. And I definitely have to blow the dust off for this brother right here. I don't think he's been on probably since about 2015, 16 or whatever. You know, a lot of people, forget that this brother's a show legend. So let me blow the dust off of this one. From the Wolverine state of Michigan, always bringing the knowledge and power, please welcome True Speech to the Talk to Q radio show. What up, True?
happening?
True. What's going on, bro?
Long time no see, brother. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Glad to
That's
have you
wonderful.
back in the mix.
I'm glad to be back in the mix, man. Like you said, it's been too long, bro.
No doubt. All right, so we'll go ahead and kick things off. And let's see, I got somebody, got my cousin in the chat room says, how do I become a show legend? Takes a lot of dedication. You got to be I guess many times over, contribute through social media. It's a lot. It's a lot to it. It's like earning a Hall of Fame jacket. All right, so we'll go ahead and kick things off. And let's start with the elephant in the room first, okay? A lot of people assume that access to guns is the reason for the increase in violent crimes in America. And True, I'll let you kick it off first, man. Do you think that people have easier access to guns now, or is it roughly the same as it was 20 years ago and something else is the problem?
Well, Q, I will say this. I don't think that it's necessarily changed as far as how people get firearms and how abundant they are. You know, I mean, honestly, since the pandemic, it's a little harder to get them on the legal market. So I would assume in the illegal market, they're probably moving at a premium. But I gotta be honest, I really don't think that just the amount of guns and the access to guns is the reason cities are so violent nowadays. I think the mentality has changed, to be honest with you. Just people for now, well, nowadays, I feel they are more desensitized to violence, probably because of the internet, probably because of social media. But it's just like people seem to think that escalation of violence to that degree is how you solve conflicts. You know, to me, in America, guns have always been all over the place. You know what I mean? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, guns are everywhere. It's a gun-toting country. So I don't really think that the amount of guns is the problem, man. I think it's just the mentality of the average American today, especially the younger generation. And I hate to put the blame on them, man, but this younger generation is wild, Q. Like they fantasize about violence, man. They glorify it, they uplift it like this is the be all end all whenever you have a conflict or a disagreement with somebody. So I gotta blame the mentality, man.
All right. And Mr. Shelton chimed in. He says it's the same. He said, I've been packing since I was 16. And let's see, Eminem, what are your thoughts on it, man? Do you think that it's easier to get guns now, or is it pretty much the same? And like True Speech said, that is more of a what's going down on the black market more so than the legal side of things.
Well, yeah, it's definitely what up, True, but yeah, True up on the 100, man. But what I like to add to it, man, just from what I've noticed, is, and I'm pretty much can figure this go from pretty much everywhere, especially in the cities. Like back in the day, like everybody had guns, and in the South down here you could easily get guns. But however, what I'm noticing, and I'm speaking specifically to my damn neighborhood, it's just like, man, if you weren't no major player in the drug game or pretty high ranked in a gang or something like that, it's certain type of guns you're not gonna have. Now it's like, man, I'm outside. I don't want to say it too loud. Like, not even 100 feet from me, these niggas I know got about 10 AKs in the house right now. That's under the age of 20. That ain't got no kind of big nothing behind their name. So I'm just saying. So that type of shit is mind-boggling. In addition to the way True broke it down. So now, where you got a cat that was heartless, but he trying to pop somebody with a Saturday night special, little 25 or something like that. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not that you can't kill nobody. It's not that you're not killing nobody, but now you got jokers opening up shit. I mean, they, basically can shoot down a house, and you got multiple people doing it. And it's just escalating shit to the point where the police are damn near scared in most cities, are more apprehensive, because they know when you coming in and you dealing with shit like, man, this is the United States. You ain't in fucking Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? It ain't supposed to be to the point where you can't handle this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think the the black market, I don't know. It's almost like when drugs in the 60s and 70s became cheap. in the 80s where people could get them that no longer had them. I think the same thing happened with the guns. Like you went from 38s, 25, shit like that, you know, basic guns you get in the store to stuff that, you know, Scarface was just a movie we grew up looking at. Nobody actually thought you could actually get this shit and not be some major player. Now, yeah.
Okay.
I can go get that shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Illegally, of course, but anybody can, including kids, and it's escalating stuff. It's making
Alright.
punks have heart that never had heart.
Got that right. And let's see, Robin chimed in from California. She said, "Wait, True is on here. Hey, little bro."
What's going on, sis? You been all right?
All right. And so let me ask this. I'm gonna go to Bailey and Ray, and then Amy. I got a specific question for you. But I personally think that the number one motivator of violent crime is poverty. Some people commit violent crimes out of a feeling of hopelessness. When you don't have a plan in life, then you're living life day to day, which can open you up to a lot of bad decisions. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody that is robbing and killing is not struggling, but I'm just saying that a lot of times it's surrounded by poverty. And prices continue to go up for everything. I mean, even Dollar General is $1.25 General now. So, Bailey, how can the lack of money lead to violence, in a particular area?
The lack of money, man. I think I grew up in all them areas that you're talking about, but man, it ain't a lack of money, man. It's a lack of hustle. Like systemically, you start off behind the 8 ball. You know what I'm saying? Like all playing fields are not equal. But if you get you a little money, you change the way you think about some things, man. You start to care about things. You start to care about property value. Hell, I done got accustomed to having blue toilet water now. I'm not going back. So, man, it come down.
Can't go back clear, huh?
Yeah, man, I like mattress toppers and stuff now, man. So you get your little money, man. It changed the way you look at everything. But if I can get into it, I call it we live in a lick mentality, meaning that's what causes the despair. A leak is a shortcut. It's a something for nothing, type of situation. And, cats will put all the eggs in that basket. Man, I'm going to be straight when this come through. Or I'm going to be good when this happen. Or I'm waiting on this. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time a lick is at the expense of someone else. You know what I'm saying? So you count, chickens before they hatch. And it ain't even your chicken. You know what I'm saying? You count eggs before they hatch. And it ain't even your chicken. And man, there's no such thing as a lick in real life, man. Only karma. And so when that lick don't come through, now you have to act out of desperation. And desperation begets violence. Because I had the mother of your child that's expecting you to be able to buy Pampers, or the rent due on the 1st, or I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses on social media. So there's all these things where you had your mind's plan on spending that money. But that money never comes because there's no such thing as a lick, man. It's only karma. And so I think, man, that plays a big, I personally can tell you that plays a big part in violence. Okay. I know a dude that say, hey, man, I ain't never shot a gun. I shot people. So, that's just coming from. Yeah, that's coming from a place of despair. Like now I have to take something. I have to, I have to take it because I'm in a place of despair and hopelessness. And I you put yourself in that situation, looking for a lick.
Yeah. I got you. And Ray, you have anything to add to that, man? I mean, how can the lack of money lead to violent criminal behavior?
Well, I think it's a mindset. Bailey said some real good stuff just there, and I agree. It's a mindset. Some people don't want to hustle, and I just think we just gotta tell the truth about it. I love rap music, always have, and I still do. But a lot of the music is influencing the kids. And when we was kids, we want the beatbox and all that because that's what the Fat Boys did. Big Chains, that's what Run DMC did. The Ditos, because that's what Run DMC did. Kangos like LL did. Now it's like all the music, or the popular rappers anyway, for the most part, it's all talking about handling things one way. They associate it with some type of gang or some type of initials or some type of this or that. And that's what the kids look up to. Hey, everybody likes nice clothes and nice cars and all that. It's in their right mind anyway. So that's what they looking at. So when it comes to the violence, they think that's the best way to resolve things. And when you're around violence, then you're going to become violent just like they are. And when the community is backwards, you can only go backwards. You think about it. Everything that's negative is what's on top in some of these communities.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin's a school teacher. The biggest idiots and assholes in school are the most popular and got the most girls. Not the guy that's making the A's, not the guy that's getting ready to go on a full scholarship to university or Ivy League school or
Right,
whatever the case may
right,
be. We not looking up to that. We looking up
right,
to the guy that just flat out he ain't the worst shit he can be. That's the guy you looking up to. Oh, he throwing signs and he trying to do this. And he trying to every day is some garbage going on with this guy. Name buzzing in the street and everything else. That's what they looking at. Now when the girls turn around, they get pregnant, they turn around, have offspring, single mothers, and the cycle just keeps on repeating itself. And when it keeps on repeating itself, this is what we end up with is more and more problems. Now to bring it up to today, why is it more violent than it's probably ever been? Is because people, when their mind get idle, they think of devilment. And when your mind gets on devilment, they call it demon time now, but it's the same shit our folks said 30 years ago. So that's what's happening. So people now think, okay, if I got a problem with somebody, I kill them or I shoot them or I do this, or I do that.
Mm-hmm.
When we basically may have had a fist fight about it, or or we don't mess with each other, and that
Okay.
was it. Now it's more to it than that, and that's what the problem is. We need to stand up and tell the truth, and everybody need to raise their kids to the best of their ability. And I think some of this would change.
Yeah, it definitely starts with parenting. And in the chat room, Stephanie chimed in from Texas, said people with nothing to lose can be dangerous. No doubt. And my cousin sent a little inside joke right there. That's a little local joke. And so, Amy, and I got somebody on the phone lines. Hold on, I'll get to you in just a moment. But Amy, we see certain cases on TV about like a missing or murdered housewife, and half the country will help solve that crime. But that rarely seems to happen for people in the inner city. Is there a lower priority to solve violent crimes when it comes to poor people?
Gabby Petito, when she went missing, that opened up a whole nation of people, and I feel like that people are getting more coverage now because I have following the true crime community so closely. I have witnessed different different people, different races are getting more exposure. I can't really hear anything.
From the 850 area code, the Emerald Coastline of Pensacola, Florida, making his way to the ring, the man in black, the Buckster. What's going on, Buck?
How's
What it do,
everybody
bud?
doing?
Can you hear me, man?
I can now. How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing well. And
Excellent.
let's say having some technical difficulties with Amy. So we'll
Okay.
see if we can try to work that out. I had to drop her off for a second. But Buck, what's your 2 cents, man? I mean, is there a higher priority to solve crimes when it comes to the more affluent people, the richer communities, more so than the poor people?
Most definitely. It's all about the money. If you've got the right kind of money, you could probably get out of everything. We see this all the time. We see it every day in our everyday lives, the haves and the have-nots. I remember when I was working back out, all the way back when I worked at Jit in the Jungle, there was a guy that worked with me, and DUIs weren't that prevalent then, but he had 3 of them. And this is the man that still had his driver's license. You know, he was able to drive. He still drive and drank. And, you know, he didn't make any bones about it, but he had the money, or his parents had the money that could get him off of it, and, he could keep driving. And I'm going like, this man's got 3 DUIs. I'm going like, how's he still driving? And then you see somebody else get a DUI, and then, they may end up in jail, and, get out and they never get their driver's license back. So, I mean, it really depends on whether you got money and get the right representation. And I mean, it's unfortunate. It should be equal across the board is what it should be. The justice system has been messed up for many years now, many decades. But if you got the right kind of money, you can get yourself pretty much out of anything. And if you don't have it, then you just, you got to go with the public, as they say, pretender. And it shouldn't be that way.
Okay. I mean, so true. I mean, to me, that's going to help perpetuate the problem if we're identifying that poverty is the source for a lot of crime, yet people who are poor can rarely get justice for crime, then how does it stop?
Well, Q, that's the issue, right? And like Buck said, and I believe like Amy was talking about a second ago, people commit crimes when they don't have shit to lose. Like, I mean, when you have no way of eating, you're struggling, you look around the environment, all you're seeing is poverty, chaos, and destruction. Eventually your mind starts to morph to accept it. Like, okay, well, the only way out of the situation is to take from somebody else that might have a little bit more. The problem is, in the Black community and in the urban communities, we're around people that don't have shit. So we taking from other people that don't have anything, which just further adds to the situations that we're all in. And let's be honest, the police in the Black community most of the time aren't really designed to prevent any crime. Like, they respond to crime, they make their money off of policing and actually, imprison us and incarcerating us and all of that whole prison industrial complex, which is a whole nother topic. But all of that honestly ties into crime. If you have a steady flow of people into the prison industrial complex, you need crime to keep feeding these people into this complex. So you're less motivated to solve these crimes. And just keeping it honest and keeping it a buck, no pun intended, homeboy, keeping it a buck, it's like, this is America. Don't nobody give a damn about what happened to poor Black people. You know what I mean? Like, and like you were talking about as far as Amy Patino, whole world looking for this girl. But let's be honest, we all know what happened. Homeboy, who was her boyfriend, fiance, we know that man had a hand in it. We know he probably did it. He running around scot-free. They on a manhunt trying to find him. They on a manhunt trying to find her body. During that time frame, and I can't speak for everybody else's city, but I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar. While the country was on the manhunt looking for him and trying to find out what happened to this girl, every day I turned on the news, I saw the same old thing. Somebody got shot, somebody got robbed, house fire, another shootout. All while the country is trying to find this one girl in my city, all I'm seeing is the same old same.
Yeah.
So, don't nobody care about what happened to us, man.
But Q, can I add to that real quick?
Go ahead.
This is what we got to understand too, as people, and me talking about things being backwards. When something happens in the community and there are no police around, we think it's a bad thing to tell the police what happened. Now, how are we supposed to get a crime solved if they was way downtown somewhere, and by the time they come uptown, everybody look around. Well, I ain't seen no shooting. Nobody didn't do this, so I don't know who stole it. I ain't snitching. I ain't doing this. I ain't fuck that, man. If I'm a cop, I ain't worried about that shit either.
Right.
Because I come down here to find out what happened. Now, everybody you talk to, we don't want to talk to the police. We pissed off. Well, that ain't my business and everything else. Then when somebody take missing, then folks want to say, well, the cops didn't put in the same effort. Well, they don't have the same amount of cooperation either. Because you go to some of these white communities, every white person out there going to tell the cops what they saw and help them solve the crime. Us, you got to figure it out. You got to go to surveillance cameras. You got to do all type of stuff. Guys living in your neighborhood is committing crimes, and nobody won't tell nobody on the guy. So how the crime gonna get solved? It ain't all on them. Now, I'm not saying police treat black people like they do white, because they don't. But at the same time, if you want to be a law-abiding citizen, you got to act like a law-abiding citizen. Shit, we grown folks. We ain't no fucking thug no more. If you was one, and we got to understand that. And people say, oh, well, this ain't my business. That ain't my business. Okay, fine. You tell me, who are we going to investigate? A girl leaving the club at 4 o'clock in the morning when she should have had her ass in the house? Or are we going to investigate somebody who never had done a crime before, comes from a good family, and she disappeared? We ain't worried about Pookie then kidnapped her and took her down the street and locked in the basement and all that over a bunch of bullshit. And that's what we got to get straight. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. And a lot of people don't want to hear what the truth is. But until we start telling the truth and realize the truth, ain't nothing going to change.
Anybody else want to comment on about the whole street code of no snitching? You agree with Ray that you think that people should speak up when they see something, or you think that there's some merit behind the no snitching policy?
I speak. I speak on it. Man, in regards to no snitching, that's a tough thing, man. Like I guess if you saw something and that's in your heart to speak on it, then hey, I understand. But it's hard to tell. Everybody ain't cut like that. It's hard to tell. Elderly folks who may be scared for their well-being, or women to go say something about something, and they still have to live in that environment or in a proximity. Excuse me.
But let's keep it real. It's not the old folks. These young folks, the old folks say there ain't no party, ain't no club.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't really know about that particular incident, but I say, man, with the solving a crime, police solve them. A lot of crime, a lot of murders get solved, but it ain't the solving of the crime that's the problem. It's the ramifications of committing the crime. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I know people who, being in Atlanta too, I know people who will do something in Bankhead, but wouldn't do it in Buckhead. Or I know people that'll shoot you on Mega Elbows, but I'm not finna shoot you in the Fondra. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna shoot you on 51 because then I got to go deal with Madison Judicial System. You know what I'm saying? So I think you see more crime now because like jail is a part of a culture. Like, I'm not scared to do nothing to you in Jackson. I'll be home. You know what I'm saying? That's, I can figure that out, but I'm not finna do that to you in Madison. Not that I think better about Madison, but I do fear that judicial system because they're gonna throw you away. So I think
you a question.
Okay.
If the police officers are black, the mayors are black, and they can't police themselves, then what is supposed to be done? See, in Madison, you go up there, something happened. Them folks is gonna tell them what happened ASAP. Now, are they gonna do the same thing in Jackson? I think not. You probably got 8 out of 10 folks won't say nothing.
Well, Ray, I don't really look at it as a. I'm sorry, I don't really look at it as a telling issue. Like, I'm not gonna do it for you to tell on me. because of
And,
the
and,
ramifications
and,
of doing it there. You know what I mean? So it's not about if
but
you saw me or you're gonna tell. Like I'm not even gonna do it.
this is what I'm saying. How about not committing the crime in the first place?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Oh, okay.
Everybody keeps saying, "Well, the law is not fair." This, that, and we know the law ain't fair. We can fight the law when we are obeying the law. But if you constantly breaking the law and you say, "Damn, if I go up there and I steal in Madison, they're gonna raise my bail up to $40,000 for stealing out of Walmart," versus Jackson, your bail might be $200. Okay, you know what it is already. But how about not stealing from your own people and in your own community, just like you wouldn't steal in Madison?
Yeah. Well, hey, man,
That's where it should start for sure.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm not a fan of stealing. I'm just commentating on, hey, what we're dealing with. You know what I mean? That is.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you personally. I'm just saying
That's what we're
anybody
dealing
out
with.
here.
If
they
you
just
sentence
had
if you sentence in Hines County like you sentence in Madison County, that would be a big deterrent.
I was gonna say there's a guy in Madison County. For those who aren't local to to Jackson, Mississippi, Madison is a more affluent area, I guess, of the Jackson metro area. And there was a guy who got sentenced yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, for 100 years, or was it 125? But I don't know. But he
Yeah, it was
sold
124.
Yeah,
124.
he sold some fentanyl as a black man who sold some fentanyl to a white guy, and the guy died. And so he got 124 years. Now, of course, people OD from drugs all the time. If that happens in Madison, you might be out. In Hines, you might be out before the funeral. But I mean, if you do things in certain areas, there are differences. And I think that, so let's talk about the judicial system for a bit. And I can almost assure you that every city that has a high crime rate, the court system is a mess. Prisons are overcrowded, which means there are a lot of offenders that are being released. The court system and crime labs are backed up. They were backed up before the pandemic, so it's worse now. And there's so many inconsistencies and things of that nature. And I know people like to blame the lack of police presence or work ethic, for the crime that goes on in the community. But it's more than just the police, right? You're talking about the lawyers, the judges, the CSI, all of that factors in to some of the, I guess, the incarceration rate that we see, as well as the amount of criminals who get released back on the streets, right?
Right.
Well, to be honest, Q, like you was talking about, it's not enough people for this. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm gonna speak on up here in Detroit. It's a major city, just like every other major city. It's simply not enough public defenders. It's not enough police. There's not enough prosecutors. The judges are backed up. The court systems are backed up. There's no way for them to properly deal with everything that goes on a day-to-day basis. So you figure with the amount of people versus with the amount of, citizens in the streets and roaming the streets and living their lives versus the amount of people they have to handle these processes and procedures is just backed up, and it's a mess, which leads to a lot of time paperwork get lost. They just sentence people real quick. They just want to get stuff done to try to move through and try to get to all this backlog. So the court system is indeed a mess, but I'm gonna take it a step further and kind of double back to what I said earlier, man, is when you count how much money you get per head in the prison, and when we talk about privatized prisons and the prison industrial complex, it's more of an incentive to lock people up and send them to jail anyway. Because it's like, why am I gonna sit here and waste my time and waste all these resources to determine whether or not you are 100%, innocent or guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt, and we'll just cut you a plea deal, or we'll just, trump up some charges, get you in, get you out, and be done with it. Now, like you guys were talking about earlier, when you're dealing with something in the inner cities versus the suburbs want that money. A lot of the suburbs want the revenue from the court costs, the court fines, the court fees, part of that prison industrial complex, because that's what fuels a lot of their economies. Like I know everybody else in every, suburban city, you get pulled over in the burbs, you're going to pay that ticket. You get pulled over in the city, you might be able to work something out with the judge, the DA. They just want to get you in and get you out. They don't care. You know what I mean? Pay a little fine, you go about your day. But if you get pulled over in the burbs, open up your checkbook. So that's kind of what it is, because it's all boiling down to money at the end of the day, finances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Money.
I think he answered.
But if you know that,
Yeah.
everybody keep talking about what the jails are built for. If you know that, Stick your head in the book and go to college and try to learn you something.
I
Because
agree.
everybody got somebody in their family they seen go to jail and been through the system and all this other kind of stuff. If you see that and you know that, I don't want to hear nothing about they building liquor stores and they doing all this. They. Well, when we gonna do the right thing. Shit, I mean, you can fuck up in your 20s and your teens or whatever the case may be, but sooner or later, you gotta say, okay, I see the way this is going. Let's change something. Let's do something different. And we not saying that as a people. And then we start bringing the blaming on proximity and the police, and we don't have this and we don't have that, and they don't give you this, they don't give you that. Of course not. Shit, if somebody over there paying more taxes, he's supposed to get more service.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
mean, how can you disagree with that?
Man,
Well,
Q.
Ray, real quick, I'm gonna say this. To your point, I also have this idea that the worst thing that happened to black people, one of the worst things that could have happened to black people, is when the mentality of the streets and the street code started to become a norm for average everyday citizens.
Right.
And
Rap
you can
music.
see it, you're right, and you can see it with this new generation. It's kids who have never really been in the streets, they've never really been in gangs, they've never really been, you know, they ain't never really ran the streets, but all of a sudden everybody want to be a gangster. Everybody want to
Yeah.
be a thug, everybody want to be
Right.
hard, everybody want
That's
to
it.
claim something when you're
That's
not
it.
really cut like that. Like you are living this fantasy life based on music, movies, and entertainment, and you're thinking this is an
Yep.
acceptable form of living. When
Yep.
in actuality, leave the street shit to the street dudes.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're not in the streets and you're not about the streets, leave that street shit alone. Because what happens is you get kids trying to play street, end up doing something stupid. Now you getting people locked up. Now you getting people hurt.
People
Now you
killed.
see the issues, people killed.
Mhm.
And we all talk about all the time where there's no code anymore. It's not, because you have people that weren't around when the code was established or have no idea what the true code of the street is, trying to play street, and they don't understand the code. That's why you got old ladies getting cracked over the head. You know, they shooting kids. It's lawless because the street code and the street mentality and street life has been an acceptable part of the norm of everyday life for civilians. And that right there has been a disaster.
You know, and you make a good point about the code because I've met some, you know, like OGs who said that, man, it's crazy out here. People who used to be in the street who are like, man, these folks will shoot you. You know, no questions asked, no reason really. They will just shoot you. So I mean, the lack of code is definitely a big part of it. Lack of respect. And let's
Yeah.
see, Mr. Shelton chimed in. He's talking about the guy that got the 124 years. He said, I bet if the dealer was white, he wouldn't have gotten that much time. Madison County targets black men, and you know I know. And he has had
Well,
some
Mr.
ideas on
Dealer, you know that off the top before you even start dealing it.
it. So
Say, let
and
me sell my dope in Jackson.
all right, so we talked about like the community's responsibility, you know, if people should speak up or not. And I mean, some folks think churches should get involved. I'm not sure exactly what they can do, but one thing some people can do is like, well, that everyone should do if you're eligible. Voting is a community responsibility too. And man, if you all could see, for those who don't live in Jackson, if you could see the city council meetings in Jackson, Mississippi, with the mayor, and I mean, you would really think it was a skit from Saturday Night Live. I mean, it's amazing how grown people who are given responsibility of governing the lives of the citizens of Jackson act so immature on a regular basis. So, how much blame do the people who don't vote or those who don't vote responsibly get in some of the mess that we have within the judicial system and legislature?
Most of it, shit. If I'm being honest, and I talked about this a while ago, man. A lot of people think that voting only happens once every 4 years when we elect the president, man. No, the midterms come up. If you hate how black people get locked up in your county, the prosecutor, the district attorney is an elected position. The judges are elected officials, circuit court judges, district judges, third court judge. All of that is voted positions. People complain, and we all do as black people. We bitch and complain about the judicial system, politics, government, when we don't vote, we don't show up to local city council meetings, we don't show up to these town halls, we don't do what these other folks go out and do. You see some of these town hall meetings in the suburbs, it's full. It's standing room only. People
Right.
are making their voices heard. They speaking their opinions. They say, hey, man, you want me to vote for you? I got something to say. Or, hey, man, I voted for you a couple years ago. You ain't did shit you promised. So now I'm here to hold you accountable. We don't do that. Black people don't
Right.
do that. We talk
Right.
about, oh, man, they locking brothers up in this county. You didn't vote for the judge. You don't know nothing about that judge that's sitting on the bench, but they ran a campaign. They got elected. You hate the district attorney, the prosecutor. You ain't vote for that woman or that man. You have no idea what their politics are. You don't know these people. All of these are elected positions. So if we really want to make a change, vote them the hell out of there.
Right.
But we ain't gonna do that though. That's the problem.
Man, I agree. I agree with True. Man, at some point, man, we as a people have to choose truth over tradition.
There you
Meaning,
go.
I'm gonna do something because it's right, not because my grandma did it. Like we
There you
we do vote, but we pimp our vote out to whoever panders to us. And you know,
Democrats.
I wouldn't go get into that, but yeah, you're right, Ray, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you give your vote, it should be, hey, what are you gonna do to get this vote? You
There you
know,
go.
if I'm a politician and I know that, hey, I'm gonna receive your vote anyway, I'm gonna come visit your church and y'all gonna vote
Yeah.
for me, it's mine. You're already counted. You know, you can't build economic, you know what I'm saying, improvement off free ish. You know what I mean? I'm already counting your vote. I'm not going to do anything for you because it's mine already. You know, history shows that. That's how you're going to vote. Truth was right. You don't know who the Republican is in this race. Hell, you don't even know the Democrat. He got a catchy commercial, you know, and he's good for some clickbait when you interview him, you know. So I'm talking about particular politicians now when you hear that.
Mhm.
But you know, you know, we pimp ourselves out, man, at every level, local,
Yeah.
state, federal, presidential. We
Yep.
pimp our vote out. No other
Yep.
community
Oh man.
gives their vote so easily without demanding something.
Man. Joe Biden got holes on pimps on every corner. He got them. And he got them. Ooh, man.
He damn
Did he
sure
get
does.
him? Did he get him? He got him. I ain't
Oh yeah,
saying Trump. We
he
know
got him.
Trump wasn't right. But man, you
Yep.
giving money to these folks, those folks, these folks, those folks. And
Man,
shit,
he
when
just
you
he,
gonna
he
when you
man,
gonna help these
he
people to
came up with
put
a
you in
big.
office?
Yep, he
Yeah.
came up with $1 billion to send over there to Ukraine, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, why
That's
don't you
right.
give some of this money to the people right here in the United States? I'm going
Hey,
like,
that's
when you
$5 a
got
gallon.
That's what he
inflation.
said he was gonna do.
Inflation is so high right now, and then the next thing you know, they talking about this going up, that going up, this going up, that going up. But we got $1 billion to send to Ukraine. We got people standing on the street corners. Now I know that some of those folks made their own choices to be out there, but good gracious, why don't you give it to some of the working people in here and give me $1 million? I'll
Yeah,
show you
I
what I
think-
can do with it. I can turn it around.
Yeah.
We have to do what we need to do to make things right. Go to these city council meetings. Go when it's time to vote. You need to vote. We got more ways of finding out Republican and Democrat who's right, what they stand for. We don't take the time to find out what they stand for, and that's what we got to do. If we want to make the change, we got to find out what these guys and these women are going, what they stand for, and that's how we can make the necessary changes when we vote for them. And if you
especially
just
on
going
the
in there,
local level.
yeah, especially the most important elections to go to is your local and your state elections. Damn, the
There you
president,
go.
Mickey Mouse, to be fucking president. The state and local government is what we deal with on every single day. And if
They make the laws.
we can't go to those, and I mean, it's homestead exemption. Who's the judges? Whether there's the gas tax on fuel tax for gasoline. That's something that they do here. I mean, you have to be prepared, and we got tablets. We still got newspaper out there, but you got tablets, you got cell phones, you got computers. We can find out what they voted for in the past, what they voted for in the present and what they, and we don't take the time to do that.
We can find out who they slept with in the last scandal they had. And Mr. Shelton made a good couple good comments. First of all, he said the Democrats and the Republicans are not our friends. And he also said they only pander to us when it's election time. They get our vote and give us the middle finger.
No. The Republicans, they speak out on what they believe in. Democrats lean on the fact that they can get the black vote, and most black people vote Democrat without even seeing what these people stand for. And then when it comes time, just like now, they giving money to everybody else, every other group, talking about the people that was held down in Texas that were illegal immigrants. They talking about giving them $400,000 a family or individual, and all this, trying to pass all that stuff through. You don't have to be in the United States to obtain a driver's license. You here illegally and they give you a driver's license? All black folks trying to do is get some of what was theirs. But that's what they voted for. Oh, Biden gonna do this, Biden gonna do that. Oh, racist. That's all we worried about. Instead of looking at what the true picture is. And this is why I got black men here on this line here. This is a serious question that I want to know the answer to. And this serious question I want to know the answer to. Why, as black people, do we give a shit about people getting locked up and committing crimes? Why are we worried about that? Those are the people that's going to steal the shit that you work for. Why are we concerned about that?
Well, Ray, I can speak for me. I say in America, I have an issue with the disproportionate sentencing of black people versus everybody else for committing the same crimes. Now, if somebody commit a crime,
I can agree with that.
Right, that's my biggest issue. If somebody go out and rob a bank, rob a liquor store, hey, that's your own damn fault. You face the consequences. But don't tell me that, you know what I mean, that justice is blind and justice is fair and all this other good shit. When a black person could commit a crime and get 30, 40, 50 years, white person commit a crime, they get probation in 2 months. That I have a problem with. Now, if we gonna call things across the board, all right, cool. 2 people commit the crime, regardless of skin color, give them whatever amount of time we all feel is necessary or that the law deems necessary. Judge it fair. If we gonna judge people when they have committed a crime, judge it fair. That's my biggest issue with the justice system.
Yeah.
But if a black person commits a crime, we know for a fact there is no guilty until proven innocent. We know we guilty, and we gotta we know we facing a guilty verdict, and we gotta pray to God that the judge and the jury find some mercy on us. If we didn't do it.
But you tell me, if you take all our black leaders and we protest that, which would be the right thing. We all want the equal justice and liberty under the nation. This is what we want. We all want equality. But how can you talk about that? And damn, when they take you off the news, you got every joker that come through for the next 10 minutes on the news, he got a black face. And you say, damn, robbery over here, carjacking, a shooting, somebody beating their girlfriend, somebody selling dope. This is okay. We trying to do the right thing here, and we got all these folks over here, but we won't condemn these folks. Tell these folks they doing the wrong thing, or if you get caught doing something wrong, just like back in the day, it used to be a village was raising a child. You catch a child down the street doing something wrong, somebody else will beat that child. Now we'll look around all the criminals in the neighborhood. Nobody will speak up. Nobody will tell them they wrong. They looked up to, they respected, and got all the people that should have a respect hiding in their houses scared. And we all right with that. Then you want outside people to respect us in the community. How can they do that?
We have to, you can't. I mean, you have, it all start, it's each individual's responsibility to take heed and try to make this change. And it starts with each individual. You can't be scared to talk to the cops or say you see somebody do something. You have to be able to discipline your kids and do it the right way, and make sure that they are held accountable. We have to be held accountable for the things we do. If a black person goes out there and robs a bank, then his ass got to go to jail. Bottom line. The only thing is it needs to be equal. If another ethnic group does the same thing that this guy does, and he's 10 years for robbing a bank, then the other person should get 10 years, not 20 years or 25 years. It needs to be the same across the board. But forget all that. We as individuals have to take advantage and get after this thing and do it right. And we have to be held accountable for the things that we do. And it starts with us raising your kids. The people, and that's what, if you raise them properly and tell them the difference between right and wrong. If you see somebody doing something wrong, say something to them about it. We can't be afraid. You can't live in fear. You got to be able to stand up for what's right. And it starts with all of us individually and collectively.
Yeah, and I agree. And going back to what you mentioned about the media, I don't think we can rely on the media either. I know when I used to work for a local newspaper and had access to like a lot of public records and mugshots and things of that nature, there were a lot of crimes like assaults and DUIs and robberies committed in suburbs that never made it to the TVs, So that's part of it too. I mean, sometimes it's perception. So I know that does play a role in it, to where we think it's just this certain group or this certain area and things like that, and you realize it's closer to you than you realize, but it's just not being reported upon because
I mean,
Man.
we can
they have a lot of
agree
time.
with that,
Yeah.
but ain't nowhere in the world the numbers is nowhere near as close as what we actually seeing. And I talk to anybody who want to talk about that.
Man, Q, we can lower crime with 3 words, man. Not even 3 words, 2 words. Do for self, man. If you if you lower the dropout rate in high schools, man, and push more young men to pick up trades, whether it's barbering or carpentry or HVAC,
yeah,
and man, you push more young men into trades and being able to do for self. And Brother Wesley Muhammad, he calls it nation building skills. Man, I'm not going to college for 4 years for African studies. I can do African studies, I can do that on YouTube. Man, go to school for real nation building skills, learning a real trade, something to help your people. But man, if you lower the high school rate, man, and push more young men to them trades, you're really doing for self. I have some value in myself. I take pride in myself. I take pride in my work. And I set myself up to be able to have something, be able to support myself. For every dude that gets the money, you got 5 or 10 people that you ain't got to worry about coming through your window. You know what I mean?
right.
But that's not popular. See, the young girls don't push that. They push that negative stuff. And that's what the girls like. That's what the guys do.
Girls respect money.
The only
Right, I was about to say,
Bailey,
right. Girls respect that money.
Yeah, they respect money. I don't care what you do. You know what I'm
As long as you
saying?
got that cheese, you all right.
Yeah, we talking about girls, we talking about women. Because women know a dude with a work truck and some dirty boots got some money. He been doing something to get some money. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But where does that start? In high school.
Yeah, and it starts with us. It starts with us.
It starts with us, and it starts with you at the house, because if your parents are doing all the right things, but it's monkey see, monkey do. They see you doing the right things, they're gonna do the right thing. If they see you up there playing video games, cursing, smoking weed, drinking, and acting a fool at the house, then they're gonna do the exact same thing that you're doing.
Right.
I mean, it's just common ass fucking sense. We don't have it. We need to bring it back, and we need to get this. That's the only way we're gonna get this stuff straight.
Man, and there's a word I learned this word from a judge. I went to a court date for one of my friends, and I watched one of my friends just not handle himself the right way in court and just get banged. But the word is accountability, man. Like, we as a generation have to take accountability. So I can point one finger, but it's 3 more point back at me. The neighborhood I grew up in, like, I was born into a conflict with another neighborhood. My generation didn't start that conflict. You know what I'm saying? I come from a generation of drug sellers, not drug users. You know what I mean? So the problems that we have today didn't start today. They were passed along. They weren't solved during the previous generation. But I guess while you're on here on this earth, man, do something to make a difference and try to make it better for the next generation and pass some game. So I mentor a lot of young men. Some of them listen to me out of respect, and some of them, hey, if you ain't putting no money on it in their pocket, or you're not taking the chances they taking, they don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I just think, man, pushing more young men to trades, actually giving back, and not just, talking, actually being about, what you're talking about, building relationships, and not really just writing young men off. You know what I mean? I think that's how you make a difference.
Bailey, you got a good point, man. And real quick, Q, I definitely want to piggyback on the trades thing, man, because what the biggest issue is that I see with the younger generation is like you said, they have this goal that they want to get to. They want to be financially stable. They want to be, financially independent. They want to have the ability to basically spend money how they want to spend money. One of the quickest ways to get there, honestly, is through a trade. You graduate at 17, 18 years old, enter to a trade school, you done in a year and a half, 2 years, plumber, electrician, HVAC, right? All three of those shit, even welder. All four of those positions right now coming out of high school before you turn 21, you can enter the workforce making 30, 40, 50, 60, $70 an hour. You know what I mean? I seen an ad, they looking for welders starting at what, 70, 75,000 a year. You know what I mean? I got a kid that I mentor. He's going into welding. He already got his future mapped out. He's 18. By the time he's 20, he's gonna be making almost $80,000. Right. So the issue is, and to put accountability, and I think you made a good point. We as a people have for some reason decided to shun the working man and edify the bullshit. Like we made jokes about the plumber and electrician when I know plumbers and I call plumbers. And I done had to spend $400, $500, $600 in a matter of an hour and a half because they have the skill to fix my issue. What I'm gonna do when the man give me a price? You know what I mean? I gotta pay this man. Days worth of work, couple hours, he done made $600. You know what I mean? We don't talk about that enough. I told this one kid, he said he didn't want to know what to do, and I said, well, what do you like doing? He said, I like working on cars. I'm like, well, why don't you go be a mechanic? Well, I don't want to be, people gonna laugh at me. I'm like, laugh at you know how much a mechanic make an hour?
All right.
I don't know how to drop a motor. If I come to you and you tell me you need $3-4 grand to fix my motor, what the hell I'm gonna say to you? Nothing. But pay you.
But it's hard to get a young kid to understand that.
They understand money. We got to
respect money, right?
We got to understand money.
You saying they respect money, but the money y'all talking about is not fast money. And these young niggas respect that.
I don't know about all that.
$600 sound like fast money to me.
It's fast money.
Because I think a lot of people don't know how much some of these trades make.
No, that's what it is, Q.
Now it doesn't have the glamour of a dope dealer. It doesn't have the glamour of a dope dealer or whatever. But if you gave someone a choice and say you can make $500 pushing these drugs, or you can make $500, being a plumber, a lot of people would choose the road with less conflict.
No, they gonna take the dope.
Yeah.
I'll be down there fixing them pipes for $5.
Ray, they gonna do both, right? They gonna do more. Ray, you know how many people got regular jobs and sell dope too?
But
selling dope ain't what it used to be, Ray. Selling dope now is like driving an Uber or working for DoorDash part-time. Everybody sell dope, Ray.
Everybody got one.
But this is what you missing. You're missing the fact that you're going to have to go to somebody's school in order to learn that trade. That's going to take time. That's going to take effort. And in the meantime, Big Booty Judy, she wants to get with somebody with a nice car right now. And then to get a young boy to understand that he can make money legally. And you just keep making the steady dollar versus the guy with the fast dollar, because when he go to jail for 5 years or 7 years or whatever case may be, what is his average? You're going to catch him anyway, but you can't get people to see that.
Okay. Now, Ray, that's a good point, man. And if we're going deeper and really talking about life ills, to be honest with you, if a young man is 17 and 18, as a parent of that young man, as a family member, as a community, like I shouldn't be 17 or 18 starting from zero. Like who has been financial planning for me from the get-go?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of like do my mama have good credit? Have I been added as an authorized user? Am I starting off with something? You know what I'm saying? Like I shouldn't be starting from zero, right? You know what I'm
Again,
saying?
But a
it
lot of
starts
these
with
kids
us.
ain't got no
Yeah.
father.
That's why I say it's one
We get
finger,
that,
it's three
but
more
we,
coming back at me. Man, did I invest in any stock? I could have
we,
got a little Roth IRA and you
yeah.
was great. But I think we gotta
Then we,
it takes a while to learn a trade, Ray. But damn, man, that's a lot more obtainable than
Oh,
selling me a dream
I,
about
I,
college when I ain't care about school since sixth grade.
I
You know what I'm
There you
I'm
saying?
a
go.
hundred. I'm
yeah.
100% behind that. That's
Yeah.
what I tell these young kids. You got talent to cut hair. If you go cut hair, be on time. Don't take it as a job that you don't have to have nobody standing over you. You go in, you do the job, you get there 7 in the morning, leave 7 at night. You can leave with $600, $700, $800 a day in your pocket. But in order to get a young boy to see that, a lot of times you talking to him for an hour. Who's talking to him the other 23 hours?
Well, Ray, like you said, we got to stop talking. We got to show them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really what it
Well,
is. It's
it's like
about
this. I,
And
I hadn't
you
said
gonna
nothing
do
in
it
a
and
minute.
show him all you want to.
Let me
Okay,
speak
go
on
ahead,
this
Quinn.
for a minute. Let me speak
Yeah.
on this for a minute. Everybody has some great points, but when it comes to mentoring, it's like this. You're gonna lose a lot of kids, but it's just like I grew up on kung fu movies, and a guy, seafood wasn't gonna take nobody on as a pupil unless you really, really wanted to do it. So it's like with a knucklehead, tell him their ass moving, but for those who do it and do it a lot, yeah, ain't nothing, everything never gonna be successful. But you're gonna have some kids that truly 100% never had the blueprint. They never had nobody tell them nothing but go to the store and get these motherfucking cigarettes and come back. They never had nobody say anything. They truly don't know nothing. No, except bullshit they hear on rap. Ran into a kid, I didn't even recognize him. He remembered me from playing with my football team. And I was asking him what he was doing. He said graduate. I said, man, that's cool. Then he told me he was in doing air conditioning or whatever, but he couldn't get on nowhere. I said, don't worry about getting on nowhere. I said, look, I said, do you know what internship is? He had no idea what I was talking about. Or a what's the other thing they do with apprentice? He didn't know
Apprentice,
nothing what I was talking about. I said, listen, I said, call a few of these companies and just use this word. Say, can I be an apprentice? And he was just looking at me like I just gave him some kind of blueprint. I said, listen, all you want is the knowledge. When people's air conditioning go out, once you learn how to, you already got a background in. Once you learn how to fix stuff, you don't just have to depend on somebody hiring you, you know. And I asked him that. I said, hey, you got any kids? He said, no. I said, good. You know, try to hold that off so you get your own shit together. But the thing about it, it wasn't like I'm telling him nothing that just was invented, but literally he's never heard that before. Now,
a lot of them
he might
have.
have went out, the next day and did just the opposite. But just say if he didn't though, you know. And I really think he really tried to do it. So that's how that worked. You know, it's just like anything else, you know. And the younger the better. Now, once somebody is locked in and they already real negative, oh, them motherfuckers, I mean, really they destined for death, you know. But if somebody really seems to honestly warm up to what you say, because a lot of kids, even some of the ones that don't seem like they care, nah, they just fronting for their friends and stuff, and they understand the dope game. You know, a lot of them born into that shit, but a lot of them really don't know it's a way out of that. You know, it's like, you know, the average teachers, I mean, you know, ain't nobody making shit, but you know, nobody's bicycle to work either. So a lot of kids don't understand, they don't even understand basic finance, like basic shit. Like today we had something at school that some private group came in and it was just like a reality fair. And they gave the kids a budget and they had to go around and with different occupations and make a budget. I thought it was pretty cool. And I was just shocked at how many kids were interested in it. Cause usually shit like that, like man, I don't want this shit and stuff like that. But literally about 90% of them participated. You know, the ones who weren't gonna be shit, you know, of course they didn't do it, but a lot of them didn't understand how much a kid fucking costs. You know, these kids born and raised on welfare, they don't know nothing else. You know, it's and some of them,
Yeah.
given a choice, they wouldn't be on the shit. You know, and all I tell them is like, hey, try not to have. I preach the same thing. Try not to have no damn kids until you're ready for them. Specifically that, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you on your ass longer than anything else, especially a woman, a girl. You know, because when you come from nothing, when 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 both sides of your family is fucked up on both sides, you have no direction. You know, that you might be 19 and you bump into True, or you might bump into Red at the barbershop, or you might listen to Q show. But now you got something to kind of counter yourself and get back on track with, you know. But you know, you just keep feeding them that knowledge. You know, they ain't gonna listen to that shit. Most of the time, it's for nothing. But the ones you do get it, you know, most of the time, like almost 100% of the time, they never heard nobody say nothing positive. I'm parents don't even say what you make on your report card. They don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
that's what we're dealing with. They literally being raised by like kind of like what Ray was saying about the rap music. Like they take it so literal because it's nothing to that shit at all.
Yeah,
Nothing.
you're
So
right, because you have a lot of times you have people who tell kids, get your grades, go to college, and that's all you're telling them. So all right, if they don't get their grades, then what? Then they don't have any other options because you haven't explained any other options to them. You really have to break it down and talk to them. And all of us in some shape, form, or fashion have probably done this. Over time. I know Eminem has, and Ray's talked about his barbershop conversations. I know what True does on social media, and Bailey when he plays basketball with the young heads, he tried to tell them some. So it's like everyone, all we can do is try to do our part. And yeah, maybe we'll only reach 2 out of 7, but that's 2 less dudes robbing me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yes,
the,
sir.
I
and,
agree. I
and
don't
then
want to make it seem like,
say what now?
oh, go ahead. I say I don't want to make it seem like that. Yeah, you just coming down on the kids and coming down on them because y'all right. There are some that you can talk to that will listen. Like I see young boys now, and then when they working, I pull them over. I say, hey man, what you doing with your money? Oh, well, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm saving my money. I'm investing in this, investing in that. Hey, because I didn't have nobody to tell me. My folks could only do what they knew. Well, you work, you save your money, and you do this. Say that ain't necessarily a bad plan, but it ain't the best plan. But you can only do what they knew. They knew work and you save a little bit of money, and that's it. They don't know nothing about no investment, no stock, no this,
Yeah.
no none of that. So now when I wish I had somebody to tell me when I was 19, 20 years old where to put money and stuff, where you supposed to do this and do that. That's why I see these young boys now, you working, you making good money and you young and you living at the house. Boy, if you can send 1,200, 1,500 a month and you 20 years old, you put it in there. Because when you get my age, now you got choices. You got you
Yeah.
$3-4 million in there. You ain't got to do shit for nobody. You don't want to.
And that's what
But
has to be explained to people.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
think that we have to get away from just telling people the basics. Get your grades, go to college, don't bring home no babies. Explain to them what their options are. Explain to them how much babies cost. Maybe that would be more of a deterrent if you actually just spell it out. Because they may look at you and say, well, you did it, or dude down the street doing it, because he may look like he's doing it. He may be struggling. I mean, you really have to explain to people so they can understand it and recognize what their options are. And at that point, it's on them.
Yeah.
Once you give them the knowledge, at that point, they got to try to find something to do with it, or just ignore it. But
Because I promise they listen, man. A lot of times, it may seem like they're not, but they listening. Even when they don't do what you said, a lot of times they done bump their head and they'll come back and say, hey, big bro, you was right.
yeah,
Hey,
it'll
big
come
bro,
back to
Agree.
them.
big
And
bro, tell me what you was telling me again, man. Sometimes it's just in the delivery. I know I had uncles that loved me to death, but the delivery was awful and I just couldn't hear it, man. I'm gonna take the stairs because that ain't it, you know. So a lot of times,
But this,
I'm not saying baby or coddle them, but you
but
know, sometimes you can present it in a, you know, in a way. You know, it's just,
but
hey, I'm just giving you. I ain't telling you what to do. I'm just giving you game, and that's a lot easier to receive than being barked at, because they
Yeah.
hear you, they listen, they want to figure it out, they want to
I
change their circumstances, they don't want to be uh in what they was born into. They want to
but
make a
you
difference for their family.
you know a good way to change the circumstance. A lot of times when guys you just in a bad environment, I tell any kid, get you a job, work and get you a couple of $1,000 together. Once you get that saved, you get on the bus and you go wherever it is you want to go. Things is easier now because you can literally get set up in another town with a job even before you get there.
Yep.
But get the hell out of town. And if your folks is a bad influence on you, you get the hell away from them too.
Yeah.
Because
You got
if
to take
you want to
yourself out of
make
that
that
element.
change, exactly, because you have a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to do this and that," but then everybody around you doing the wrong thing. Family
You're,
doing the wrong thing. Okay, you want to do the right thing? Work your supermarket job or whatever. You get you 2,500 or whatever you think you need. That you can get on the road and go somewhere else where you can get you a place. Take off and don't look back. Because most people that don't look back, they end up being successful wherever they went to.
yeah. Yeah. And teach these guys that you don't have to have drug money to get big booty Judy, because I ain't never sold any drugs. Your boy used to pull them with Flintstone vitamins, dog.
Man, Judy gonna go,
You
man.
feel me? Look, hey,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, when you get older, Judy looking for stability. That's what she
All
looking
right.
for. She ain't looking
Yeah,
for that.
Yep.
She ain't looking for
but
that
but
bullshit when she get
Judy is
older.
gonna go.
yeah, but she
Hey,
did.
look, Judy's
She did.
coming. Judy's go.
But she didn't ran through now. 2 football teams
Uh-oh.
and ran through it. Now she want to get right.
Uh-oh. That's a
But I'm
whole
gonna
other
tell you
show,
what though,
Ray.
Ray.
That's a
I'm gonna tell
whole
you
other
Yeah,
what though,
show.
Ray.
and now you
You
want
got
to
a
get
point
right.
because your earlier point. Tell these young bloods like, look, just because the chicks in your environment may be chasing a dope boy and everything else, if you go a little bit further out, I promise you're gonna find something quality that ain't about that foolishness. So you right.
Hmm.
One of the best things
Hmm.
we can honestly do for young brothers in an urban environment is sometimes take their ass out the urban environment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta go out and see something else and experience something else and see how
Exactly.
other people
Absolutely.
live to
And
realize,
I,
like, damn, it is kind of effed up in my neighborhood. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
ain't life. This ain't the way. Like, it's other ways and other people are doing amazing things, and it's a whole different caliber of people, man. It's cool over here. You know, shit.
No
I'm gonna be
doubt.
honest with you. I didn't move out of the city of Detroit till I was 29. And it took me a couple years to really get used to peace and
yeah.
quiet. So I spent almost
Hmm.
my whole life in the city, and then I'm damn near 30.
Felt
I'm
like
on the
you dying
burbs.
with the heaven in you.
Man, I like my neighbors. They cool. I ain't gotta hide my
Hmm.
shit when I leave. It's like it's quiet. I'm like,
Hmm.
damn, is this peace? Like, this is some
Somebody
wild. It
come
took me a
around
couple
there
years to
ain't
get used
supposed to
to it.
be around there. They gonna let you know about it. They watching
Yeah.
out for your stuff when you ain't home. They
Like,
got their own shit, so they ain't trying to steal
Man,
yours. Man,
Yeah,
it's a
how
different
that
frame of
feel?
mind, man. It's a
it
different
really
frame of
is.
mind. People getting out the gas station, leaving their car running this shit. I'm like, man, you do that out here? Like, the fuck? Like,
yeah.
somebody gonna steal your shit. They're like, man, ain't nobody gonna take my car. Come out, the stuff still where they left it. I'm like, this is crazy.
I know, right? But all right, fellas, look, we'll get ready to wrap things up. I appreciate it, man. It's been great chopping it up with you all. We'll go ahead and get into some final thoughts if you have anything left to get off your chest. Uh, and we'll go ahead and get that done. So um, let's see. Eminem, I'll start with you, man, on the final thoughts. And if you can keep it brief for me, because we already ran over.
All right, I'll keep it real brief, but I don't like to end without a solution. And I ain't what I normally say, but like I say, man, but really, the underlying stat with anything across any culture, whatever, is like somebody said earlier, poverty. But poverty comes from basically, and this is the elephant in the room, not in this room where we in, but for the most part, people don't like to acknowledge it. But I always too many people in urban areas specifically, and rural areas. And ain't a lot of rural areas across the country like it is in Mississippi. But too many people don't value their production. I'm saying you having babies before you can get your own shit straight. You know what I'm saying? So like if person A was listening to the show, they saved up, which is great advice, and they got the hell out and left that negative element around, they can start over. But the person who already got 2 or 3 kids, well, it's more complicated. They're still tied to the baby daddy who's still in and out the streets and talking about he gonna come over here and fuck everybody up and all that shit. So it never really leaves. So if if anybody listening, could do anything, the same thing I tell kids all the time, plan your damn, try not to have, especially girls, try not to have no fucking kids till you ready for them, till you mature with yourself, and you'll be a better parent. Once you become a better parent, then you're gonna have better choices. You make better choices. You probably not gonna be in no damn, project or bad neighborhood. I mean, shit happens, but it won't be in the same manner. You won't be part of the problem. You might be some of the people fighting for the solution. And of course, if you legalize it, you ain't have a lot of mixed up shit anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I was waiting on it.
You knew that was coming.
You legalize.
You knew that was coming.
You ain't dropping seeds like that. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man. I appreciate it, Eminem. And Buck, what you got, man?
So I mean, I got on late, but everybody was kind of hitting on all late tonight. It really starts with us. I mean, it starts with us, and it really starts before you get into high school. It starts in the very beginning. You pay attention if you got good role models. Back in the day, we'd always say it take a village, but now it's a little bit different. But it really takes really good role models. If your parents are good role models, your uncles, your grandfathers, your grandmothers, it starts at home first, and they need to plant the seed. So therefore, what's going on. We as a people also need to teach finance. We don't do that. Financial freedom is important. We need to start bank accounts early. We need to be able to teach how to save money and things of that nature. If we do these types of things and then teach trades or teach how, tell people, tell our kids how much they would be making. I mean, plumber walk up in your house. We talked about it tonight. They're going to demand $500. I mean, and if it's after 5 o'clock, hey, it's even more than that. Hey, I do some of these things. I do indoor plumbing in my home improvement business, and I get paid. And I don't have to worry about anything. I walk in and do plumbing, I'm charging the same thing the plumbers are getting. So I know the money can be made, hanging ceiling fixtures, ceiling fans and things of that nature, or repairing drywall and all that. I make money. I can make $3 to $4 grand a week on most weeks during this time of year. People getting paid, getting their taxes back. They want their homes straight, so guess who they calling? So we need to be able to teach our kids these types of things and be able to teach them how to save, how to save money, how to invest money in those types of things. When we teach our race those things, instead of teaching them about rap music and buying cars and buying all this gold dripping and blinging and all this kind of crap, that don't really mean anything. Because at the end of the day, you don't have nothing, because that can be taken away from you. But if you earn your money, reinvest your money, be able to get some of these rental properties and some of these things that other ethnic groups are taking advantage of, then we rolling. Then if you want to buy a car and throw some rims on it, it's all right. We can't get the car first and the rims and then try to invest. We need to do it the other way around. So we need to start teaching our kids these types of things. And if you get them interested in those types of things first, then we'll be interested in all this bullshit that's out there. But it starts with us. It starts with us first. And if we don't do it now, we're trying to make the necessary changes. I was looking at something on TV the other day in Mississippi where this guy's putting up, signs, trying to keep black on black crime down. We need to stop throwing dirt in each other's faces. We need to start standing up, and when somebody gets to the top, we're knocking everybody else off the damn ladder. Other ethnic groups don't do that. We need to stand up for each other, and we need to lift them up. That's when we start lifting each other up. We ain't gonna be thinking about no damn violence. But it starts with us first. When Martin Luther King said, when he passed away, he dropped that baton down and we were supposed to pick that baton up. Who the fuck is gonna pick it up? We need to pick it up. We need to stop passing the buck, and we need to pick that baton up and carry it the way he would have carried it. That's what we need to do. Vote, do the right things that we got to do. Enjoy the show. Y'all have a good night.
All right. All right. And Wendy chimed in from Florida. She said, still needs the village. Preach it. And discipline and patience is the hardest thing to teach kids nowadays, Buck. Because kids, it's a microwave society. We want what we want now, like immediately. And it's hard to get people to say, all right, invest your money first, then ball out after you make your money. But it's just, that's the hardest part, I think. But all right, Ray, what you got, man?
Yeah, man, it's been such a great show, man. It's a lot of good points came out. And I think that, all the men that's on this panel here, man, they all, hardworking and positive and try to do the right thing. If everybody was like us, the world would be a better place. But it's hard to get people to agree. I mean, we can't even have a party without something going down. And, all the things that everybody talked about here, like Buck can do a lot of things and, had a lot of different trades under his belt. And okay, that's good for a young kid to see. But the young kid has got to have something special in him in order to see the work ethic and understand that when you out here working hard and you getting dirty and your hands is getting beat up and everything else, that you're making money. And if you're making money, you can't get yourself into trouble. And before you know it, you got a nice career going for yourself and you got something that you can build on for years to come. Because when you can fix things, you can always make money because people's shit always gonna break it. It's always gonna need to be repaired or improved. And that's a profession that if you don't want to go to college, that's something that kids should be looking into. But if every time they get off of school, they getting into trouble, there's a lot of trouble on the street, the parents at work, the parents are in the house, and they out on the street, they miss those lessons. And I wish that a lot of kids out here would just get serious about something. Because when you look at these Asian kids and all that, you don't have to worry about them walking the street. Because they folks are teaching them that education comes first, or a trade comes first, or a business comes first. All these things that are necessary for a person to be successful. We're looking at that fast money, man. You got Joker that'll get a stimulus check and go buy a Gucci belt. What? Instead of doing something constructive, these are the things that people are doing, are buying $500 worth of crab legs and shit like that. We just need to be taught the right thing. But in the community, if you talk in the right way, you get ostracized. You get called names. You get disrespected for trying to tell people the right thing to do. And until we stand up and say, listen, this is not the right thing to do. It's all right. I'm not against balling. I'm not against buying nice shit. I like nice shit myself. I'm against you doing the wrong thing to get it. I'm against you hurting your own people or hurting any people to get it. When all you got to do is put you a plan together, whether it's working, whether it's going to college, or whether it's getting a trade, you can make some of these things happen if you have patience. but you must have patience and you must do the right thing in order for you to be successful long term. And other than that, I think that we'll always have these discussions until we come together as a people, and the people that's doing the right thing start preaching the right thing instead of telling them the wrong thing. And the wrong thing is blaming other people. They are the problem. The judicial system is messed up. Police do some bad things, but we gonna control what we can control. Stop committing crimes and try to stay out of these people's court system and do something positive to set examples for our younger brothers, our cousins, and our children. If we can do that, I think we can make things a better place. But that's where it starts.
All right. Good stuff, man. I appreciate it. Bailey?
All right, man. I'm not gonna hold you, but man, it was a pleasure doing the show with all you fellas tonight. Man, I'm just gonna use my final thought to man speak on what the I guess the show was actually about, man. And it's the murder and the crime rate in the city. And man, to be brief, man, a lot of these conflicts, man, a lot of these shootings, a lot of these situations, like after the smoke settle, and you call around, be like, what happened, and to find out, what's going on. It really wasn't about nothing, man. So most of the time, it's one word that caused all of the conflict that you hear about on the news, all of the conflict in these neighborhoods, and that one word is pride. Man, Melvin Farmer once said that the only thing stronger than a man's pride is a mother's love. So, man, if y'all coming across young men, man, just try to instill before we even get to the money, man. Just try to pass along some game, man, and instill some integrity, and some good character, man. Because at the end of the day, a 3 minute argument might lead you to the rest of your life being locked up, and it really ain't behind nothing. Oh, he hollered at my girl, or he ran off with some, just or whatever. It's really petty stuff, man. And you shouldn't spend the rest of your life in prison because of a decision you made when you were 17 or 21. So, man, just try to, live righteous, man, and don't react because of pride. Because, man, too much pride to kill you. But if you don't have enough pride, you're already dead. But at the end of the day, most of this stuff is not behind nothing. I ain't heard a legit reason for shooting yet. You know what I'm saying? It's always behind pride. Some people will say women or another word that start with a P, but that's just a subset of pride. So, man, have some principles, man, have some morals, have some integrity. And, if you have to stand on that, then you have to stand on that. I understand. I'm a gun owner. And, if it came down to it for something that really mattered, I wouldn't hesitate. But this foolishness, man, it's all behind pride. So, man, put that to the side and try to live long enough to have something, man. And that, man, that's all I got, Q.
All right, man. Good stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And True, I'm gonna let you shut it down, man. True, I was just checking out my website, and according to this, it says the last time you were on the show was April of 2012. Has it been that long, man?
Man, there's no way it's been that long, Q. There's
Man,
no
it
way.
said, yeah, you and Melanie Billups.
Nah, it ain't been that
Oh
long.
man,
Yeah,
that was a
I
minute.
got to do some more research. I can't believe it. I don't think it's been that long, bro.
No,
Go
it
ahead.
hasn't been that long. No,
Go ahead and shut it down for me, man.
Most definitely, man. Fellas, I appreciate everybody tonight. Everybody has given some great thoughts, some great insight into the situation, and it's really great to hear positive black men speak about how we can help better the situation. And I think that's what we need to continue to do. We need to reach out to these kids as much as possible, because at the end of the day, it is about the younger generation as well as us. But we have to lead by example. We got to show them more than we can tell them. These kids, they'll listen to a degree, but at the end of the day, it's all about what can you show me to help me better my life and my circumstances, to stop me from doing what I'm doing now, to do what you're proposing. So in order to help not only the youth, which will help the topic of the show, and I think a few of the fellas have touched on this, if you give somebody something that they can be proud of, if you help them develop a skill, if you help them get into a trade or a job or a career or something, and they can keep their mind occupied on something positive that is helping better themselves and their family, They don't have time to commit these crimes. They don't have time to run the streets. They don't have time to, be out here on this foolishness. And this, in turn, will help decrease all the murder, the violence, and the chaos in the cities that plagues us as Black Americans. So we have to empower this next generation. We have to be a voice. We have to be an example. And we have to show them that, hey, this is another way. You know what I mean? I'm not just telling you it's another way. I'm showing you there's another way. And this is one reason, and this is one way that we can help better the lives of everybody, man. And I also want to leave everybody with this. And Bailey, you touched on it, and you touched on it when you were talking as well. Never be afraid to leave some words of wisdom. My uncle told me years ago, those who have the least have the most pride. And Bailey, you talked on pride, and it's really important that we also instill a sense of self-assurance and self-security. So therefore, this generation doesn't act on pride. Because a lot of the stuff that happens and a lot of reasons why the crime rate is so high and the murders are so high is because of prideful actions. So let's give this generation something else to be proud of. And let's continue to fellowship. Let's continue to network. Let's continue to build networks where kids can get apprenticeships and they can get internships and they can get opportunities to do something else. They can see different places. They can experience different aspects of life in order to help give them something to focus on. And then maybe we can help lower this crime rate. And then hopefully we can help us as a people move forward and progress. We got to talk of financial literacy. That's the biggest thing, because without money, nothing means anything. So we have to teach our kids how to be responsible with their money. We have to become more financially literate, and we have to show them how to invest. And then therefore, once we do all of that, hopefully we'll get the ball rolling and start fostering some type of change and positivity.
That's what's up. And man, let the people know what you've been doing, man. What you got going on?
Oh man, yeah, dude, I got a lot going on. If anybody can see it, me and my wife, we have a clothing line. Do it for the culture. We've done very well with that. We launched that a month ago. We also have a few more lines we're going to drop. Hopefully within the next month or so. Just sent off some copyright applications a couple of days ago, so we're waiting to hear back from the government on that, and then we're gonna get that ball rolling. And also got a podcast, man. You inspired me, Q. You inspired me years ago. Me and my cousin, we got our podcast. It's the Q-Tip Podcast. It stands for Quit Taking It Personal. So that's on YouTube. We also are moving to Spotify as well to try to capture that platform. So if anybody's interested, search Q-Tip Podcast, QTIP on YouTube. Definitely like, subscribe, share, tell a friend and tell a friend. We got a few more episodes I'm editing right now that hopefully will be out in the next couple of days. And, I'm just trying to make it happen, Q. I figured, I did music and I've done pretty much everything else I could do. So now let's get into this podcasting world.
That's what's up, man. Happy to hear it, man. I definitely
I
encourage everyone
appreciate you.
to check it out. And man, this has been great. I appreciate y'all. And I want y'all to hang on the line for me while I close things down as well. So just hang out backstage for me while I wrap this up. But it's been a pleasure speaking to you guys this evening. And so my thanks to Bailey, Ray, True, Eminem, Buck, and Amy. And Amy also added, she said, be the change you wish to see in this world. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Those are her final thoughts, Amy in Arkansas. And all right, so that's going to do it for this this edition of the Talk to Q radio show. And we'll check you all. The show is every 2 weeks now. I do have a special edition coming this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So go to talktoq.com to get more information on that. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Help the show grow. And everyone enjoy the rest of their week. Peace out. All right.